Is there a way to eliminate penalties and interests?
That's a great question, because this is one of the most common questions I get is, can you call the IRS for me and offer them 50 cents on the dollar and let's just settle it right there? Well, I begin by telling my clients that the IRS cannot just cut the debt because the law doesn't allow them to do so. There's several ways to get to it indirectly. Principally, if you can't afford to pay it, you can do an offer in compromise. You can do a partial payment installment agreement. But one of the other things you can do is file for penalty abatement. Abatement's a fancy word meaning reduction or elimination of those penalties. There's two basic ways to abate penalties. One is called first-time abatement, and the other one is called reasonable cause abatement. First-time abatement, it's just what it sounds like. For the very first tax period that you owe. So in this example, tax would be a whole year. Other periods would be quarters, like if you owned a business. But let's assume it's just like you owe taxes for 2016, for 2016. So you qualify for first-time abatement to eliminate the penalties for that year, so long as the 3 years before 2016, in other words, 2015, 2014, and 2013, you were not penalized. So if you were not penalized for those 3 years, you're entitled to eliminate the failure to file and the failure to pay penalties, which can be very substantial. Failure to file after 5 months, it maxes out at 25% of the taxes owed. And failure to pay penalty is 0.5% a month up to 22.5%. So those two together is 47.5%. And then on top of that, you have interest on the penalties. So if you're able to eliminate taxes because the very first year you owe, you are not penalized for the 3 years before that, it could be a huge benefit. After that, it's called reasonable cause abatement. You have to have something that was beyond your control. For example, you were ill in the hospital, you were unemployed, all your records got burned and you couldn't file, things of that nature. Those are much more difficult to get, but sometimes the taxpayer qualifies. So the answer is the IRS cannot negotiate with you like you would with a business where you say, look, I'll pay you half, 50 cents on the dollar to settle the matter. They won't do that. They can accept an offer in compromise, a partial payment installment agreement. The 10-year collection statute can expire in some of the taxes, or what I just discussed, abate penalties, either first-time abatement or reasonable cause abatement.